Hi, I'm Walt, and this is Delta Astrophotography. And after the most brutal, horrible winter for astrophotography I've ever seen, spring is finally here, and between the thunderstorms, tornadoes, and windstorms, I've actually been able to shoot a little bit in the past month. Yeah, it's really been that bad. So in order to take advantage of and avoid wasting any precious few clear nights that I have, I've been playing it real safe and just using my favorite rig from the past year. That's this Askar 103Apo telescope. No reducers, I'm just shooting at the native 700mm focal length at f6.8. And of course, I'm using my trusty EQ6-R Pro Mount. I still love this thing. I've had it for about 3 years. It's never done me wrong. And for cameras, I'm either using this sun-bleached ZWO ASI 294 MC Pro or just a random DSLR that I have lying around the house. But after owning this telescope for over a year, I'm still in love with it, still trying out new targets with it, but I'm also trying older targets just with 700mm focal length instead of the 275 I used to shoot. And it's really exciting. So instead of going out and trying to teach new techniques or anything like that, I just drug my video camera out with me from time to time while I shot and just vlogged the entire experience. You just get to see what a normal night doing astrophotography is like for me. So join us in today's episode of On the night of February 25th, so about 3 days before the new moon, I finally got a chance to shoot again for the first time in a while. And so I really was excited, wanted to take advantage of it, and I decided to shoot a new target I've never done before, M78 Casper the Friendly Ghost. I also wanted to, later in the night, try to collect some data on a galaxy, the Pinwheel galaxy. So let's see how that all turned out. All right, it's about 6:30 in the evening, and it's time to get everything fired up. I'm gonna go ahead and enter the ASIR software, and we're gonna go ahead and start that polar alignment routine just as soon as the ASIR quits bugging out. 1 hour later. Figured it out. The USB cable that goes into the mount was pulled out slightly. That was messing everything up. I'm glad it was a simple fix. So let's try the polar alignment again, shall we? Well, sometimes you turn everything on and it just works like it's supposed to, and then other nights, nothing works and it takes me an hour to polar align. Okay, I got that all situated. I would say that's aligned, wouldn't you? Now watch me trip over it. All right, since M78 is in the constellation of Orion, I'm just gonna go ahead and slew to the star Betelgeuse and use that for focusing. All right, as you can see from the position of this telescope here, Betelgeuse is almost directly above and behind me. I'm gonna go ahead and slip on this batten-off mask onto the front of the telescope so I can get nice and focused. I do not have an electronic focuser. There we go. That's the first attempt. It's almost perfect. I think it's a little closer to that bottom spike, so I'm gonna make a tiny adjustment and hope I'm going in the right direction. Nope, that was the wrong direction. Okay, that's pretty perfect focus for me. Time to remove the batten-off mask. And we're gonna slew to the target, M78. Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's looking like Casper the Friendly Ghost is already on the other side of the meridian. Well, it means I don't have to worry about a meridian flip tonight then. All right, I've got M78 centered up. I'm gonna start the auto guiding. Okay, my guiding is now calibrating, and that means I'm gonna go inside and get a drink. Okay, I'm back. I found something to warm my belly and my body, and I also found a jacket to wear. So we are guiding. You wanna see my guiding numbers? Haha, you can't. No, it's not settled yet. Just kidding. It's still settling. Now comes probably one of my least favorite parts about astrophotography, and that's hitting the go button. That button right there, the white goodbye button. I call it the goodbye button. That means I'm done. I don't have anything else to do except just sit around. I love doing this. This is my favorite thing in the world to do. I don't care if it's freezing, hot with mosquitoes. I just love being outside. I love being outside with my rig and just setting it up, watching this come to life. It's like a ritual. And I wish I had like 3 or 4 rigs so I could just keep doing this all night. You know, I don't think I could ever actually send a rig off to a remote observatory like the Starfront. I just like being outside and doing this way too much. I mean, like processing, it's probably my least favorite part. I don't dislike it, but it's my least favorite part. This is what I live for. But anyway, it's time to turn all these video lights out and hit go and get on with my other favorite part about this hobby, and just laying back and staring up at the sky. That's what got me into it in the first place. Woohoo! Here we go. Actually, I should turn the lights off first, hold on. Oh, before I hit go, let me go ahead and just show you the sequence that I'm doing. So I'm doing 300 seconds, that's 5 minutes. Gain 120, I think that's the default gain for my camera. And I'm gonna take about 30 photographs. I think that should be plenty, but actually no, let's change it to 40 just in case. It's not gonna take that long for Orion to set. There we go, that's my plan. I'm gonna hit confirm. I'm gonna turn these lights off and hit go and go chill. And here's what an actual exposure looks like. That is M78, Casper the Ghost. Okay, so it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. While my rig was shooting, I went into town and visited with my friend for her birthday. And ever since the weather has kind of changed, now the clouds are rolling in, unfortunately, so I'm not gonna shoot anymore tonight. So I'm gonna take some calibration frames, and I'm gonna start with flat frames. So the camera I'm using tonight is the ZWO ASI 294 MC Pro, and it's notoriously bad for taking like fast exposures. I guess that has something to do with the amp glow, but I have to take a 5-second exposure for a flat frame. So it's gonna require me to put a lot of pieces of paper between the telescope and my light source. So we're gonna get on that right now. Gonna get the telescope pointing right up, straight up in the air. There we go. Let me get the other stuff together. So I've got the 6 sheets of white paper. I just know it's 6 because I've had to experiment with this for the past few months. Stick them right here. And I've got an LED tracer pad. I'm gonna put this right on top. Got my USB cable. Let's get everything plugged in. Okay, if everything goes according to plan, if I take a 5-second exposure, this should be a proper flat frame where the histogram is about 1/3 of the way up. So let's see if this works. And indeed it is, and you can see all the dust motes. I've got some serious dust problems. They're not in the telescope. I think they're on the camera sensor itself. I think it needs a cleaning. But check that out. That's what the flat frames are gonna be getting rid of. So I'm just gonna set this up to take about 30 flat frames right now. So here we go. I got it set for 5-second exposures, default gain of 120, and I'm gonna take 30 of those. I'm gonna hit confirm and make sure it doesn't go to the home position. That would be bad. I'm gonna turn meridian flip off as well. Don't need that to happen. I'm gonna back out of here, and I'm just gonna hit go. And there we go, it's taking flat frames now. Looking good. I'll see you when the 30 flat frames are done. Okay, my flats are done. I'm gonna get rid of all this. This lens cap is soaking wet. I really gotta try this off. So I've been debating on whether or not I'm gonna take dark frames. So dark frames have to be the same temperature as your light frames, the frames that you took of the actual nebula. And with a cooled astronomy camera, I can actually set the internal temperature of the camera, which for me is -10 degrees Celsius. And so in theory, I could use the exact same dark frames from a month ago because my camera's always at 10 degrees Celsius. But I feel like a month ago, it was like below freezing outside, and so my camera didn't have to quite work as hard to get to that temperature. But tonight, it's actually been kind of warm. Well, it's a little chilly now, but I feel like the camera had to work a lot harder to cool itself down to -10. So I feel like that might have an impact on the quality of the dark frames. I have no idea. This is not anything I've read or seen. I'm just guessing. So y'all let me know if that's a thing, but I'm gonna just go ahead and take all new dark frames tonight. So taking the lens cap, there we go. I'm gonna take 2 sets of darks. Since my flat frames were 5 seconds long, that's pretty long. I can't take bias. Bias are like the shortest exposure you can do. But with flat frames that are 5 seconds long, I need to take dark flats that are also 5 seconds long. So I'm gonna take a series of 5-second darks to calibrate my flat frames, and then I'm gonna take a series of 300-second dark frames to calibrate my light frames. I've got a series of dark frames for 5 seconds and a series of dark frames for 300 seconds. And I'm also gonna tell it to shut down the ASIR when it's done. And once I hit go, I can turn off these camera lights and I can go in and go to bed. I did look forward to staying up all night and shooting a galaxy, but I think I might get another chance Thursday, which is 2 or 3 days from now. So let's go ahead and wrap this up and get ready for bed. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, it wants me to hit confirm. Now I'm gonna kill these lights real quick. A few weeks later, on the nights of March 9th and 10th, I had another string of beautiful clear nights. So I got back out and decided I wanted to do something a little different. Also, this is right before the full moon. So I had to shoot in narrowband, and I used this Altair 6nm dual narrowband filter. I love this thing. But was I able to photograph a galaxy after that? Let's find out. So it's early-ish March, and we've got another string of beautiful clear nights. I was actually able to come out last night and shoot, and I wasn't too thrilled about shooting the Casper the Ghost Nebula again. So instead I tried to get a close-up of the Rosette Nebula. I've never really done that with the Askar before, and let me tell you, it was amazing. So I'm gonna gather some more data on that tonight, and I'm also gonna slew up to the Pinwheel galaxy at around midnight and capture that as well. It's finally happening. I did it last night as well. The only problem is the moon's pretty much full. So I'm not gathering broadband RGB colors, I'm just getting hydrogen alpha, which is fine because last year I shot the Pinwheel galaxy and I got a lot of data on it in RGB broadband, and also in late January, early February, I got several hours on it in RGB broadband as well. So tonight we just get to focus on photographing that nice hydrogen alpha and making those nebulae inside the galaxy look cool. And also the Rosette's just gonna look badass in narrowband. So I'm not gonna waste any more time. I'm gonna go ahead and slew to Betelgeuse and focus my telescope. I'm not even gonna try to mess with polar alignment. I polar aligned last night and hopefully it hadn't moved much. I haven't touched the telescope since last night. So, slewing to Betelgeuse. It's so close I almost don't even wanna touch it. Let's go ahead and slew to the Rosette. Here is a photo I took last night. I love how close up that looks. This is great. Sorry if it's windy, but I'm gonna go ahead and hit go to. Oh, it might help if I took the focusing mask off. All right, and she's all centered up. I've got it set to where I'm gonna take 300-second exposures, gain at 120. I'm gonna try to get away with 50, although I think the Rosette will be set by then. And yeah, I think we're ready to go. Oh yeah, I've gotta start the guiding. Oh gosh, okay, not quite ready to go yet. It just started guiding and my video camera's gonna die, so I'm gonna go ahead and just say goodbye for now. Try to come back out here at midnight with a more charged video camera battery. Well, good morning. It's after 1 o'clock in the morning. It's really windy out here, but I managed to get all 50 of the Rosette photos taken. That's a lot of data, at least for this area. I've got so many trees in the yard. It's rare I get to get like 4 hours of data in one night. So now we're gonna go ahead and slew over to the Pinwheel galaxy. Actually, I just took my flats. As you can see, the telescope's in the flat position, and that was hard with all the wind because I had to hold the light panel on top of the telescope because I was worried the wind was gonna blow it off. The wind's pretty bad. I don't have a lot of high hopes for what I'm gonna get with the Pinwheel, but maybe the wind won't affect it too much, but we're gonna go ahead and slew to it now. Here we go. I'm pretty impressed with this dual narrowband filter because the sky is really, really washed out because of the moon right now. And the fact that I'm picking up anything is very impressive. All right, the pinwheel's centered up. I'm gonna go ahead and restart that guiding. I better turn these lights off. Okay, the guiding is restarted and I've got pretty much the exact same camera settings programmed that I had for the Rosette. I'm just gonna go ahead and hit confirm and start it, and I'm gonna go to bed. Good night, everybody. Now, if we remember correctly, the full moon in March wasn't just any old full moon. It was a full lunar eclipse, at least here in America. And I was a little nervous because I actually had to go to Austin, Texas to play a gig at South by Southwest. But luckily, the people I went with had no problem with me throwing all my gear in the car and trying it out at the house we were staying at. So let's see how that went. Also, little word of warning, the only light we had to light the filming process was this big bright LED. So if it's a little flickery, I apologize. Let's check it out. Good morning. It's a beautiful day, but according to Astrospheric, it's about to get really horrible right around the time the eclipse starts. So I think it's the perfect time to get out of here, escape, and go to Texas to play a gig, and also shoot the eclipse. I absolutely cannot believe we got the EQ6-R Pro and the Askar telescope all in the car with our music gear. All right, we'll see you in Austin, Texas. It's quite different going from shooting out in the middle of nowhere all the time to the heart of a very busy city. It's quite noisy, lots of light pollution, and there's just trees in this backyard everywhere. But this has been a great experience. So here's my lunar eclipse rig. For the camera, I'm using a Canon 80D. It's a crop sensor DSLR camera. Paired with the Askar 103, it is the perfect framing for the moon. It's not too zoomed in where I can't crop, but the moon fits in there just perfectly, and I love this setup. I prefer DSLRs and mirrorless cameras over astronomy cameras for lunar photography just because I like to use the live view screen for both focusing and to help get my exposure properly without having to think too hard about my camera settings. I still have the ASI Air on top of the telescope, but I'm using that primarily just to control the mount settings, to set it to lunar speed and to turn the tracking on in general. Because of the clouds and the trees, there was no way I was going to be able to use this to help polar align. Plus, I wanted the camera disconnected from the ASI Air just so I would have complete manual control with the camera. I also bracket my exposures, which means I'll take one photo where it looks properly exposed on the back of the live view screen. Then I take a second where it looks underexposed and a third where it looks overexposed. In order to never have to touch my rig, I have this intervalometer hooked up where I just hit the shutter button and it takes the picture for me. I never have to touch anything. I don't have to worry about camera shake. I also have to manually point my telescope at the moon because the ASI Air does a horrible job slewing to the moon and centering it up. It just can't seem to ever get it right. So it's a great thing I have this EQ6-R Pro Mount where I can still manually point my telescope at things. We made it to Austin just a little bit before midnight and the eclipse has already started. So I feel like I really gotta hurry, and it's cloudy, but it's the kind of cloudy where every once in a while it's clear, but for the most part it's cloudy. Does that make any sense? Anyway, I can't see the North Star. I have to try to polar align without the North Star at all. So I'm gonna use my phone. Let's hope this works. So I've got the app Polar Aligner Pro on my mount right now. And we're just gonna try to get the cross in the center of this bullseye. Oh, it's not working again. I'm gonna have to calibrate it. Oh, great, it's not working again. Oh, wait, there we go. There it is. All right, I think that's as good as we're gonna get. So when I first started shooting, I was using an ISO of about 400, and I don't know what my shutter speed was. I was just using the live view to get the proper exposure. This thing is tracking really well. I can't believe how well it's tracking for a polar alignment done with the phone. Like, the moon really stayed still. So I was just using the live view screen to get a kind of a proper exposure and shooting from there. But once it got to about totality, I had to bump the ISO up to about 1600, and I started bracketing my exposures. Once again, I don't know exactly how long they are, but it started at about 1 second, and I think it went up to about 4 seconds, and it really looked amazing. And then the clouds hit, and then everything got ruined. But seriously, I reached the peak of the lunar eclipse maximum, so I think I got everything I needed. Now I'm just gonna look at the data and see exactly how it turned out and what settings I used, because I honestly have no idea. The live view screen was my savior tonight. Well, thank you all so much for making it through this video. This was such a fun one to make because it was just relaxing, easy, just throw the camera out and talk about what I was doing. I kind of like to do a few more of these. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a few more of these. As far as what's going to come in the future, I'm finally about to have my Canon 6D Astro modified. It's been a long time coming, and I'm getting ready for Milky Way season, and I think it's just time. I'll be documenting every step of the way and explaining why I'm doing this. If you're interested in any of the gear that I use to take these photographs, I have a few affiliate links in the description below. And speaking of helping out the channel, I just really have to give a big shout out to my patrons on Patreon. As always, I love you guys. You're the best. We have our own Discord and we get to chat all the time. And I just really love hearing from y'all, seeing your photos all the time, seeing the gear you've been buying. It's just so wonderful. And for my patrons, this video took almost a month and a half to make, just random filming at random times. There will be some outtakes and blooper reels posted of this one on Patreon. There's a lot of them. If you want to help support this channel and become a patron, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. All right, everybody, thank you again so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave me a like. Subscribe to this channel for more. Thank you so, so much. Right now, some tornado weather's rolling in, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, get in the bathtub under a mattress. As always, stay spacey, clear skies, watch out for snakes, and I'll see you in the next one.